Why does Bosnia and Herzegovina have only a tiny slice of coastline while Croatia dominates the Adriatic Sea? This isn't just a random border. It's the result of centuries of secrets, deals, and power struggles. And trust me, the story behind it is wild. Look at a map of Croatia and Bosnia. You'll notice something weird. Croatia has this long, beautiful coastline, but right in the middle, there's a small piece of land that splits it in two. That's Bosnia and Herzegovina's Neum corridor, just 20 kilometers of coastline. Why does Bosnia have that tiny piece of the sea, and why didn't Croatia get all of it? Let's dive into this tangled story of empires, wars, and clever deals. At first glance, it seems unfair. Bosnia is practically landlocked, while Croatia enjoys hundreds of miles of coastline. This strange border split isn't just inconvenient. To truly understand why Bosnia and Herzegovina has that small piece of the Adriatic Sea, we have to look far back in time. Centuries ago, the borders we recognize today were shaped by complex relationships between empires, city-states, and military strategies. The story begins in the 15th and 16th centuries, when the Ottoman Empire was expanding into Europe, and the Republic of Venice held most of the Adriatic coastline. The Republic of Dubrovnik, otherwise known as the Republic of Ragusa, which is now part of Croatia, was a wealthy, independent city-state located on the Adriatic coast. Dubrovnik was known for its strong diplomacy and successful trade, making it one of the most prosperous cities in the Mediterranean. But Dubrovnik also had a problem. Surrounded by powerful neighbors, Dubrovnik had to navigate carefully to ensure its survival. To the north, Venice, a major maritime republic, was rapidly growing in power. To the east, the Ottoman Empire was advancing through the Balkans, and although Dubrovnik did not yet share a direct border with the Ottomans at this time, the growing influence of the empire in the region was becoming increasingly important for the city's diplomatic strategy. In the 15th century, Dubrovnik's leaders understood that they couldn't afford to anger either Venice or the Ottomans, so they chose a unique path: neutrality. But neutrality was not an easy stance to maintain in a region dominated by powerful empires with conflicting interests. The Republic of Dubrovnik carefully balanced its relationships with its neighbors, adopting a diplomatic approach that prioritized survival over territorial ambitions. To ensure their city-state's safety, Dubrovnik aligned itself diplomatically with the Ottoman Empire. This wasn't a passive choice, but a calculated decision. The Ottomans were expanding aggressively into Europe, and Dubrovnik's leaders realized that resistance was futile. Instead, they negotiated an agreement with the empire, paying an annual tribute in exchange for military protection and the freedom to continue their lucrative trade operations. This arrangement allowed Dubrovnik to flourish as a wealthy and independent city-state, while keeping Venice, a powerful maritime rival, at bay. Dubrovnik's neutrality and economic success relied on its ability to play both sides. The city's ships carried goods across the Mediterranean, and its merchants traded with Christian and Muslim territories alike. Dubrovnik's leaders were masters of diplomacy, understanding that their survival depended on avoiding direct conflict with either of their powerful neighbors. This balancing act worked remarkably well for centuries, allowing the city-state to thrive while other regions were consumed by war. However, this wasn't the moment when the Neum corridor was created. That pivotal decision came later, during a period of intense conflict and shifting alliances in the Balkans. To understand why Dubrovnik ceded this small strip of land to the Ottoman Empire, we need to fast forward to the late 17th century. By the late 17th century, the geopolitical landscape of Europe was changing. The Ottoman Empire, once a dominant force, was beginning to lose its grip on its territories in Europe. This period of decline was marked by the Great Turkish War, 1683 to 1699, a series of conflicts between the Ottomans and a coalition of European powers, including the Habsburg monarchy, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, the Tsardom of Russia, and the Venetian Republic. During this war, Venice seized the opportunity to expand its territory along the Adriatic coast. The Republic of Dubrovnik, located precariously between Venetian-controlled Dalmatia and Ottoman-held Bosnia, found itself in a vulnerable position. Venice's growing ambitions posed an existential threat to Dubrovnik, which lacked the military strength to defend itself against such a powerful adversary. After the war, the Treaty of Karlowitz was signed in 1699, reshaping the borders of the region. Venice emerged as a significant beneficiary, gaining substantial territory in the Balkans. Dubrovnik's leaders, fearing that their city-state would be swallowed up by Venetian expansion, made a bold decision to safeguard their independence. They ceded a thin strip of land on their northern border to the Ottoman Empire, creating what is now known as the Neum corridor. This strategic move wasn't just about land, it was about survival. By giving the Ottomans control of this small stretch of coastline, Dubrovnik created a buffer zone between itself and Venetian-controlled Dalmatia. While the sea offered an alternative route for Venetian aggression, navigating around Ottoman-controlled territory was not without risks. The presence of Ottoman influence along the coast meant that any Venetian advances would still be complicated by Ottoman power in the region. The Neum corridor served as a protective barrier on land, while the complex political dynamics at sea ensured Dubrovnik could maintain its independence for over a century. The Neum corridor remained under Ottoman control as part of the province of Bosnia and Herzegovina for the next 2 centuries. However, by the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire was weakening and new powers were emerging. In 1878, the Congress of Berlin granted Austria-Hungary administrative control over Bosnia and Herzegovina, including Neum. Officially, it remained part of the Ottoman Empire, but Austria-Hungary effectively governed it, keeping the existing borders intact. Under Austro-Hungarian rule, the region saw major infrastructural development. Railways, roads, and ports connected Bosnia and Herzegovina to the rest of the empire. However, Neum's coastline remained overlooked. Economic efforts focused inland, and its maritime potential was never fully realized. After World War I, Bosnia and Croatia became part of the newly formed Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes, later Yugoslavia. Since it was a single country, internal borders were insignificant. People and goods moved freely. Neum, though technically part of Bosnia, was not a major concern. Everything changed in the 1990s with the breakup of Yugoslavia. When Bosnia and Herzegovina declared independence, its once internal borders became international. Bosnia was left with just 20 kilometers of coastline, while Croatia inherited almost the entire Adriatic. This created logistical challenges. Croatia's southern region, including Dubrovnik, was now separated from the rest of the country, requiring travelers and goods to pass through Bosnia. To address this issue, Croatia undertook a massive infrastructure project, the Pelješac Bridge. Completed in 2022, it connected Croatia's mainland to Dubrovnik without crossing Bosnia. The bridge streamlined travel and removed the need for border checks. However, the project was controversial. Bosnia feared it would limit its access to international waters. Under maritime law, having a coastline grants Bosnia the right to unrestricted sea access. After extensive negotiations, Croatia ensured that the bridge's height would allow ships to pass freely, resolving the dispute. For Bosnia, Neum is more than just a small coastal town of about 4,000 residents. It's a vital connection to the sea and a symbol of sovereignty. The town attracts tourists, offering a more affordable alternative to Croatia's expensive resorts, but its economic potential remains largely untapped. With the right investment, Neum could develop into a thriving coastal hub like other parts of the Adriatic. Why does Croatia have nearly all of the Adriatic coastline while Bosnia is left with just Neum? The answer lies in centuries-old treaties, shifting empires, and political compromises. The story of Neum is more than just a matter of geography. It's a testament to how history shapes the present. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more hidden histories from around the world. See you in the next one.